morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to yet another episode of Touching the Stove. I am your wholesome host, and yes, I have to use the word wholesome because this episode is going to be a little spicy. I am your wholesome host, Amadou C. I am joined by my lovely co-host, and she will be keeping me in check today. I am joined by my lovely co-host, Desiree Anani, aka Desifer. That is my nickname for her. So, Desifer, introduce yourself today.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to yet another excellent episode of Touching the Stove. We are so happy that you were able to join us. And, you know, as Dew said earlier on, things are going to get a little hot. So if you haven't had the opportunity to already do so, go get yourself a cup of water. Last episode, we were leaning into love. We were looking at Riz versus romance.
Yes, that's right. Last episode, we were looking at Riz versus romance and what's the difference, where are we going as a society and from a communications perspective, and how Riz can help influence romance and vice versa.
And also looking at how Riz should not replace romance.
Correct.
And looking at that social interaction and finding ways to make our different aspects of relationships sustainable and healthy.
So today we thought we'd pivot a little bit and talk about the opposite end of that spectrum. We've talked about the romance and the rizzing and how you get to the relationship. Let's talk about how we deteriorate one. Today on this episode, we're going to tell you about how to cheat. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to learn how to cheat, what that means, how it's done, and how we can ultimately avoid cheating from a communications perspective. But first, before we play the game, I gotta teach you the game. Desiree, am I missing anything? Did I? She giving me the fellas. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, she's giving me the look like, ooh, this is gonna be. I don't want to get canceled. This will not be the episode that cancels us. We're just educating.
We are educating. And we are learning how to have uncomfortable conversations. Because the truth is, growth is an uncomfortable process, right? So in an effort to grow and to develop and to become better versions of ourselves, we need to tap into the things that make us shiver and maybe even cringe.
Yes, and we'd be remiss as a communications-focused podcast to miss out on an opportunity to have those uncomfortable conversations and dive deeper into very sensitive topics. And for a lot of people, given that you guys requested that we tackle this subject in the previous episode, we thought, what better episode than the episode right after that? So, before, and I know y'all are like, okay, no, yes, I want to learn the game. Teach me the game. Teach me the ways so I can, take notes. Before we get into that, let's unpack some communication theory and understand what we'll be using as a point of reference for understanding the behaviors of cheating.
Today's episode is communication privacy management, specifically with a special emphasis on boundary management. And this theory comes from Sandra Petrano, which speaks to understanding why people make certain decisions and the details that they choose to reveal or what they choose to keep private and conceal. When we're looking at maintaining boundaries, having relationships, and having conversations, we also look at the perceived benefit and the cost of disclosing information.
Right. So what does that look like? From a communications perspective, it is violating someone's information or somebody's physical space. Sometimes it could be a physical boundary. It could be a social boundary. For example, my friends tell me something in confidence, and then I go run and tell that to the other party. I violated the boundary. And of course, this extends to our interpersonal and romantic relationships, especially when it comes to the topic of cheating. Because what it is cheating essentially boils down to a boundary violation. So we constantly coordinate boundaries with one another in order to establish and have relationships be it a business relationship, an interpersonal relationship, or romantic one. And in so doing, this helps us be informed as to how we can communicate better and effectively with one another. On top of that, when we have information, and the more information we receive, the better that we can coordinate our boundaries according to the theory. That being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Today, we're going to learn about cheating, what that looks like, what that might sound like, and how people get away with it. So step one of cheating in an interpersonal romantic relationship would be crossing the line somewhere for what the parties involved have established as a boundary. Actually, Desiree, tell me, how do women emotionally get to, what mental gymnastics do y'all do to emotionally cheat?
So I think that, again, this is a very nuanced conversation, right? I think that there are different layers and different perspectives that come to what are boundaries in a relationship. I'll take the classical example, right? There's always that whole narrative of men and women cannot be just friends. Like, there's some
that's
people
the
that
Harvey
really,
narrative.
they really don't believe in organic, authentic, platonic friendships, which to me is absolutely crazy.
You have numerous friendships.
Because I do.
Including me and you. Like,
correct.
You can see an example of that. And
And I love my boys.
Correct.
Right? And you all care and show up for me in that, in that capacity, and vice versa. Like, we have that understanding, we have that relationship, we have that investment.
Yeah, you are a boy's girl.
I am very much a boy's girl.
You're one of the bros. You're one of the bros.
Right? And so that being said, if a romantic partner were coming into my life, and I let them know off the bat, like,
right,
hey, I love my friends, I love my family, I enjoy what I do. This is the life that I am living. You are adding to that picture.
Correct. You're adding to my happiness. You're not creating my happiness.
You're not creating my happiness.
You're adding
and you're
to it.
also not in a position to dictate how that should look.
You said that from your soul. So now let's use you as an example.
Right.
No, you're getting there. Oh, you're getting there.
No. Go ahead.
So, step one, a new man is introduced into your life.
A new man is introduced, correct.
Okay, y'all are getting along. You've established boundaries. Correct. Now, before we get to the emotional side of mental gymnastics, what I want to know is from you, what are your physical and emotional boundaries?
Oh, to me, coming in, I very much do respect the relationships that we have outside of each other.
Correct.
And then the other aspect of that is when we decide to become a union, or when we decide to be involved and engaged in each other's lives, that your dealings bleed into mine, right? So when you go outside or when I go outside, we then become a reflection and representation of each other.
Correct.
So whatever you would expect me not to do, I surely, on everything that I love dear, expect you not to do. The worst thing that you could do for me, to me, is to go outside and have me look stupid. Because I am riding for you 10 toes down, and I'm very much a my man type of woman. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I see it for you. Let me chime in for a second.
Okay.
What does a boundary look like for a relationship that I'm in? If I'm assuming that I'm in we have that understanding, you are my girlfriend, I am your boyfriend. So boundary coordinations for me, there's certain things, you know what, bro? Hot take. Cooking for other men that is not your family, I'm looking at you kind of crazy without my permission. I know that sounds crazy, but like, that, that's crazy. You know what's crazy? That's happened to me.
So she was feeding Everybody.
She was feeding.
But she was a community person.
See, she was, and I should have known right then and there she was for the streets.
No, I don't think she was for the streets. Here's my 2 cents, right? As someone that is really big on hospitality and curating event and meaningful experiences.
I'm with that, right? But keyword, without my permission.
But why do we need to ask you? Like, it would be one, like, if I ask you and you say no, and I was already planning on doing it, I can't necessarily back out now. Here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
You should have had that conversation beforehand.
But chances are, if I'm in a relationship with you, I did have that conversation beforehand. If I've gotten to that point with you, I have communicated my needs.
It was set.
I definitely said that. And if you go ahead and do it, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's cheating.
No.
But you have violated a boundary.
Correct. But let's flip the narrative, right? So if I've been asking you to put up a bookshelf, or I asked you to like fix a wobbly, leg on a chair,
or change the sink faucet,
or change the sink faucet, and you didn't do that, right? You know it was too big, but one of your friends or acquaintances or something, and you dash off to no.
Okay.
You dash off to go do it, but I've been in your ear about XYZ. I feel slighted. I feel some type of way. Because why did you do that? And why did you think that was okay?
So all right, so as you can tell with boundary coordination, right? Communication, privacy management. I call it boundary coordination. But it's extremely nuanced. Again, these are not cheating behaviors, but they set the stage for cheating to occur. Fellas, she's been asking you to replace the toilet. She's been asking you to change the shower curtain, fix the sink, get her new carpet, whatever it was. And you've been going outside with your friends, playing the game, going to work and coming home tired. And for whatever reason, it slipped your mind. What did Charlie Wilson say? He said, no, that was Raheem Devon. Who is it? Charlie Wilson or Raheem Devon? He's like, put that woman first.
Yeah, put her first.
No. Wait a minute. With a caveat. Mm-hmm. With a caveat.
Listen to the caveat,
y'all. Obviously, put your needs and your well-being first. Obviously,
correct.
But you do have a duty and responsibility to your partner, your girlfriend, your whatever you've decided you two are to each other. You have a responsibility. Now, you have violated her boundaries. Okay? You're not the man. You're not acting like in her mind what she perceives you to be. You're not fixing the sink. You're not keeping the house. You're not keeping the home a home. Now, this is where I think step 2 into cheating comes into place, right? So step 1, you have violated my boundary in some way. Step 2, now my mind begins to wander. Now I'm thinking of alternatives. Now I'm thinking of things outside of you.
Right. So the thing is, I personally, I don't subscribe to this narrative, but it's, if you're not going to do it for me, somebody else will.
Ooh.
Right?
You do subscribe to that narrative. Desi has a file. She has a very droidy phone. She has a file for every possible. Am I lying? Am I lying?
You're lying.
I'm lying. She has a Google spreadsheet for every possible thing that could go wrong in the house and who she can call to fix it.
That's true. That's true.
Fellas, she tried to gaslight me.
No.
Did y'all hear it?
No, wait. I'm resourceful, right? So here's the thing. You know that. My resources.
I know that because I use her spreadsheet. That's how exhaustive. Something goes wrong now in my house, I'm calling Desi. Hey, Desi, listen, I got a leaky faucet. I need you to help. Listen, I'm trying to replace my toilet. Like, I don't got them kind of skills. I'll pay for it, but I don't got them kind of skills.
Right? No, but here's the thing. Something as a woman, coming in. I am operating from the mindset of another woman should not come in and be kinder to my man.
Absolutely not. Because that's how you lose. That's the quickest way. Go ahead. Let me let you cook. Let me let you cook. Cook. Cook.
And the other aspect of that is another woman should not come in and be a safer space to him. Right? Because if we're partners, I mean, I cannot be everything to you at all times. However, there should be a level of understanding that we are doing this give and take, and it is reciprocal. There are expectations. There are spoken, desires. There are different things that we have come together to establish with one another.
Right.
So that bestie that everybody's worried about for whatever reason, maybe there's some truth to be told in that narrative, right? Or that guy friend that just be on some really cringy, creepy behavior. Like, maybe let's look a little closer into that. I'm not saying that there's something going on. Again, I said earlier on, I'm a very large proponent of platonic relationships, of platonic friendships. I think that it definitely does take a community. I think that it definitely does take multiple people to be involved to enrich one another's lives. However, there are boundaries. Why is your phone going off at 3 a.m. and it's not an emergency? Right? Or why?
Well, wait a minute. As we will discuss in a later episode, work-life balance. I have a coworker who his supervisor will call him 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm not even kidding.
Why?
Again, lack of boundary coordination. My coworker did not coordinate his boundary effectively.
Right.
As a man, why are you letting another man call you at 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning to get a file or get a document to them for the next day? That's insane to me. And remember, boundary coordination doesn't have to just be our interpersonal relationships. It could be work. It could be it could just be social cues. Like, common human decency can also be violated. Am I on a bus? You see, there's so many open seats. So many. You know exactly. So many open seats. Why did you sit next to me?
No, that one's really personal. No, that one really free the bus. I'm a girly that likes to take walks. I like to be outside. All these different things, right? So let's say I'm at the park and there's it's huge. There are benches everywhere. Everywhere. Why are we sharing this bench? Like, for what reason?
My brother in Christ, get up.
And go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else. You're violating. I have a set of rules that all my friends, in order to be my friend, abide by. And Desi knows the rules. If I go, Desi, what's rule number 1? Desi, what's rule number 1? Don't mess up the money. You're violating my boundaries. Rule number 1 is don't mess the money up. Desi, what's rule number 2?
Don't scare it. I don't want to say hoes on there.
Do not scare the hoes under any circumstances.
Don't scare the hoes.
If you scare the hoes, I cannot save you. Do not scare the women.
Don't scare the women.
Don't scare the girlies.
Don't scare the girlies.
Do not scare the girlies. Do not scare the aunties. Do not scare the girlies. Do not scare the grandmas. The day-dems. Don't scare them. Rule number 2 is do not scare the girlies.
Yeah.
Do not scare the hoes. If you have broken rule number 2,
you automatically broken rule number 1.
Desi knows this because I recite it every day. If you have broken rule number 2, you have automatically broken rule number 1. And if you've broken rule number 1, you've automatically broken rule number 2.
They work in tandem. But here's the other thing, right? So we're talking boundaries, we're talking relationships, we're talking navigating, we're talking about making sure that there is balance.
Correct.
At the end of the day, the overarching narrative here is, how do we stay leveled? How do we stay balanced?
Yes.
And
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh. And that comes with our inner dealings. That comes with our personal details. That comes with our privacy. If we are partnered and I share something with you that is a trigger to me and or something that, something that was done and it upset me, and we get into an argument.
Right.
And you bring that up and you throw it in my face.
Ooh, and women are notorious for that.
Men are too. I gotta say,
I have never.
Spare me the details.
I have never done that. I have never thrown something that a woman told me in confidence in her face. But you know what has happened to me?
Tell us.
And baby, why did you say that in front of the guys, no less, that I slept in a car bed until I was 16? Did you have to? That is true. I had a car. My mom made me give it up. I had a car bed up until I was 16. I had a car bed up until I was. My mom. My mom was like, "Listen, you are practically a grown man. Why are you sleeping in a car bed?" I'm like, the car bed was nice.
But it was, a sentimental experience.
It was sentimental.
Yeah, no,
it was sentimental. But
that's low key, high key embarrassing. Like, you grown.
See?
Yeah.
See, I was breaking rule number 2, didn't even realize it. You see what I'm saying?
We're looking at
and my mom saved me. Looking back, we should have kept that car bed because now that car bed is worth some money because they don't make those anymore. I don't know. Mom, find that car bed because that's worth some money now. But I understand why she violated my boundaries in this case.
Right.
Because she was trying to get me to be better.
Correct.
Right? By taking away my car bed. Now, sometimes we violate boundaries for the greater good. But in this case, because I want to make this clear, not all boundary violations are bad. Some promote growth, some promote healing. Some are like this episode, are going to be difficult conversations. Pivot points. I have to break your boundary to get you the information that you need to be better or that I need to be better. Not all boundary coordinations are inherently bad. We're focusing purely on the ones that are bad for the sake of this topic, because we're talking about how we cheat. Now, so step 1, my boundary has been violated. Step 2, I am now looking at alternatives outside of you. And if you're not in a relationship, this could be like, okay, you deducted me 7 hours on my timesheet at work. Now I'm looking for other jobs. You have violated one of my boundaries. I was 2 minutes late to work, and you deducted me. So now I'm looking for another job.
Or I gave my entire all for a project.
On a project.
And my name wasn't even put on the presentation.
Nope. That's happened to me too.
So at that point, it's like, what was the effort for? What was the investment? I know that you all are very much familiar right now with the common concept of quiet quitting, right?
Yes.
So quiet quitting, it didn't start yesterday. It didn't even start last month. It's people are fed up, they are tired, and they feel like they're not being valued and appreciated. They feel like they're being cheated, so, whether it be out of finances or opportunities.
Correct.
And they're finding ways to cope.
They're finding ways to reduce their cognitive dissonance. Because when you violated my boundary, you're causing me cognitive dissonance. You're not the person I thought you was. This isn't the company I thought it was. They're not going to treat me good. They're not going to value my work. They're not going to value this relationship. They're not going to value my time.
And that's a big one.
And my time is limited.
Time is the only commodity that you can't get back.
Correct. So now my violation. So now step 1, my boundary has been violated. Step 2, I'm now looking things outside of you. Step 3 now will be, and this is where a lot of y'all manhoods get tested. Step 3, do we terminate or do we cheat? Do we put in that 2 weeks notice or do we get a new job first? Because a lot of this is the same sort of mental gymnastics that you have to do.
Right.
Do I let my mans know he's breaking rule number 2 or do I free him?
And the thing is, sometimes we've gotten into this buffet lifestyle situation where every option is better than the option that you have at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could make your own pasta.
Correct.
But like you opened DoorDash and saw that it was, on sale today type of thing, right?
So now
you're at a crossroads. Do you stick with what you have at home or do you venture into what's outside? And what are the consequences associated?
Right. And media doesn't help with this either, right? How many times do we see somebody got caught cheating? Somebody's in a scandal. Somebody did this and doing the nasty with such and such. And we see it all the time. We also see the damage it causes.
But I also say we also see the glorification.
The glorification of it, exactly.
It's like, oh, wow, so-and-so did this, and they were able to reframe what happened to make it not look as bad.
If I had $1 for every time I have seen a future meme when somebody is going through it, I'd be a rich man. The question becomes, what do you choose to do? And unfortunately, a lot of people decide that I want my cake and I want to eat it too.
I actually recently learned that the saying is you can't have cake and eat it too.
Okay, break that. Edith.
Yes.
So with a D?
Yes.
As in dog?
It's not you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's you cannot have Kate and Edith too. You can't have both women.
Well, I mean, depending on where you're from.
Dude.
Depending on where you're from.
Don't listen to do.
Listen.
We're not listening.
I don't know if we'll have time to cover it in this episode today, but some of y'all have secret families. Illegitimate children.
Yeesh. All right, dude.
We could have that conversation.
We can definitely have that conversation.
Let's.
but for the sake of this conversation, right? It's like if you are not ready to close one chapter,
correct.
How?
Because closing a chapter is me acknowledging that I now have to dismantle a relationship
that you've invested,
that I've invested time and probably money in,
effort, energy.
Yeah.
And then the other aspect of that is, okay, so you're not ready to necessarily close a chapter, but you're also not ready to open a new chapter. So you're living,
one foot in, one foot out.
Correct.
So, which leads to what? Cheating, right? Especially if you're being discreet about it. Okay.
And we're not talking about those individuals that have decided that they want to be in an open relationship.
No, yeah, and we're not. So no, this in this case,
y'all are different.
Y'all came in the door on some. Yeah, we're just gonna be nasty with it. But like y'all came in on that type time, and we love you for that because at least you're open and honest. Because to be in an open relationship requires significantly more communication than it would just to be in a monogamous closed relationship.
Right. An exclusive, honest, and then the other.
I love how you slid in honest. Exclusive, honest. You slid that in there.
To, right? And then the other, a dating question that typically used to get asked is, "Are you in a relationship?" Because like sometimes people are like, "Oh no, like we're on a break," or "Oh no, we're trying to see other people." Da, da, da.
And then you have to add to that question: does anybody
think that they're in a relationship with you?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh boy, or sis, whomever. It's like, yeah, no, like, I'm single for real. Like, yeah, like I don't really have nothing going on. And then
I will add a caveat to that though. It's what you said in the previous episode. Okay. Sometimes people will lie to themselves. Like I listen, I'm legit, and this has happened to me. I am not in a relationship with this woman. This woman still likes me. Okay. I have moved on.
Okay.
But she's knocking on the door. I don't know why she's outside, but again, I was young at, college. It's college. I did not.
Y'all are still together in her mind.
We're still together in her mind. And I really had to sit down and break down to this girl. Listen, I don't like you anymore. Ouch. I know that hurts. But I wasn't clear perhaps in my.
No, you were clear, but the narrative or the story that you were
The story that she created for herself
was better than the one you were telling her.
Exactly.
And that's what we're going to go with.
Yes.
So you were in a relationship.
Evidently.
I mean, but we also had that even, right? Some people be like, and, you know, we've seen people walk into their own weddings, right? It's like, oh, I didn't know that.
We have seen. I did not know I was getting married today. He got the pink top on. But I guess I'm here.
Or now we have the women proposing to the men.
Oh, listen. I'm going to say something so foul. You are as a woman, do not get on one knee and propose to that man. Are you dumb? Stand up. Stand up.
No, it's because...
Do not go on... This might be the old school, zillennials, as you said. So, zillennials, 1996 to 1999, zillennials. I don't... As a man, if a woman drops down to a knee and I didn't cross her up in a game of basketball, I'm looking at you crazy. Do not fix yourself to propose to me. If I haven't proposed to you in a decent amount of time, chances are you ain't the one. I'm gonna keep it a stack.
The thing is, we have kids and we've been together.
Damn.
And our
I didn't propose to her and we have kids.
I mean,
Oh, I hate her. I hate her.
Sis, he hates you.
Oh, I hate you. Just know, sis, y'all have kids together, and unless he explicitly said from the door he does not want to be married, y'all have kids together, and he didn't propose, and y'all been together y'all kids, so you've been together for at least 3-4 years, right? And he didn't propose, he hates you. I'm letting you know right now, sis, he hates you. Right, I hate it had to be me to tell you this. I hate it had to be me to tell you this.
It's unfortunate. But here's the other thing, right? So that's a boundary being crossed. Because I think that, again, being honest about what you want at the door is something that we're kind of tapping back again into that sustainability of relationships, both personal and professional, right? So if we come in and we're, you let me know, hey, I'm not a marriage-minded person.
Right. I don't want to be married. I'm not interested.
That is not something that I see for myself. I just want a long-term partnership.
And that works. And you know what's crazy? That works better than some marriages.
That's a different conversation. But you told me that, and in my mind, I'm like, but I can convince you to get married.
So
now,
and I want to keep the narrative. The word no, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but the word no does not mean convince me.
Right.
If I say no, I am not interested in being in a marriage. I want a long-term partnership. And I'm not saying this is me. I'm saying hypothetically.
Correct.
I want a long-term partnership. That does not mean convince me. No, the answer no. And then for you to see my point, if I want to have sex and you say no, that does not mean convince you.
However, I think that there is a thrill of the chase here. And I think that that's what makes cheating exciting.
Oh, okay. Explain.
So, you're in your relationship. You feel like your partner isn't listening to you. You feel like things have gotten mundane. You feel like things aren't interesting.
Fellas, listen. Open your ears. Go ahead, Desi. Tell us more. Tell us more.
And so now, that...
No, spill the tea. Tell us more. Tell us more.
So, you feel like the relationship has gotten mundane. You feel like you're not communicating anymore. You feel like, you feel as though you're at a standstill.
Right.
So now you're going to...
So you feel stagnant.
You feel stagnant. Okay. You feel isolated, honestly. Maybe even cornered, depending on who you are.
Okay.
Because...
And therefore I haven't done anything wrong. So why are you cheating on me?
Hold on.
Okay.
To the woman, I'm being supportive. I'm asking him questions. I'm being caring. And he's like, no, but you're not interested in anything that I'm interested in. You don't want to try new things.
Right.
You aren't trying to go to, I don't know, the concert or the arena with me or whatever it is. But so-and-so has showed up and she's fascinating. She doesn't need anything. I don't have to call her. I don't have any responsibilities. We're hanging out. There's nothing wrong with hanging out, right, babe? Like, I'm going to the game with so and so. We're grabbing drinks after work. Slowly but surely, that innocent act that wasn't anything to be concerned about is becoming more routine.
So you're speaking to boundaries changing over time.
I'm talking about gradual. I don't think that anyone, personally speaking, unless you're just wicked and wild, but I don't think that anyone wakes up with the intent to cause harm. I think that very, very honestly speaking, people find themselves in circumstances and situations that could have been avoided. However, once you open the window, it's easy to open the door.
So, to your point, how do we avoid cheating then? Because we know how it happens. We now know why. How do we avoid that? If I, as a man, I'm like, damn, I'm really tired of being called ain't shit. I'm tired of the narratives. Oh, all y'all do is cheat. Y'all are dogs. I'm tired of those narratives. I'm coming to this podcast and I want to know, what can I do other than sexual discipline? What can I do to not cheat? How can I communicate? I'm not feeling this shawty no more. Even though shawty has bent over backwards for me. She shows up. She does this, and that. She bought me 2K. She bought me Tekken. She gave me a K from just cause I said, dang, I mean. Shawty is amazing. An amazing woman. She's not violating my boundaries per se. But I'm lacking something. She's not fulfilling my boundaries either. There's something I'm still missing. How do I avoid cheating? Or do I just suck it up?
I think that we all deserve to be partnered and in relationships that fulfill us. Mm-hmm. I think that there is a desperate need for communication. And I'm not just talking about you.
And that's why we're here. That's why we're here.
It's like you have to have those vulnerable, maybe even volatile conversations. Because it's not every day that it's going to be cookie cutter clean.
No.
You got to get down and dirty. You have to say, you know what? And when you said XYZ, that blow, like, I know I shrugged it off, but it hurt. Like, I felt some type of way about that.
Right.
Or when you dismissed whatever, like, I felt some type of way about that. Or, babe, we're always doing what you want. And I don't feel like you've taken any investment or interest in what I want. Like, there are changes that can be made. You cannot change someone. Let me say that again. You cannot change someone. If a person is not willing to see reason with you on their own accord, then you're at a standstill. It's like, maybe that
I shouldn't have to change you, though.
No,
at the same time.
No, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're in a relationship, you should gradually grow together.
Correct.
Now, if we met and we were younger and da-da-da-da-da, and we're still trying to do the same things we were doing at 20, and now we're 27, 28, for what reason? Like, why are we together? Honestly speaking, right? If the goals...
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I think that you should set goals in your relationship, right? And if
are these financial goals or what are these?
These are everything goals.
Everything life goals.
If you're going to be partnered, then you should be able to think life together.
Correct. And build towards those goals can help nourish what is already there if you do wish to keep it. Because chances are, if you're cheating, there's a part of you that's like, I still want to maintain what I have. So rather than falling into step 3 of the boundary coordination, rather you stay at step 2 and recalibrate and focus on how you can better manage what you do have. And then if you've given it 110 after that, then you consider cheating. No, I'm kidding. Then
no, but maybe for me, I think that sometimes we get into these relationships and at that specific moment in time, they served us. They were beautiful. They were healthy. They were great.
I got my nut off. I feel great. I lost 5 pounds.
I'm screaming. But over time, we are not the same people that we were when we got together.
Right.
Whether the relationship evolves with us or not, that is truly coming down to that's a decision we have to determine and make together.
So for the sis in the room, you're not happy with your man. Y'all beefing.
Ugh.
But you are choosing the devil you know for the devil you don't know. Right? Because outside in these streets is the devil you don't know. Correct. So you are settling for the devil you do know. Now, to address the girlies who are dealing with that kind of guy, you have to communicate more effectively your boundaries and be willing to explore and accept that this relationship is no longer serving you. It is violating your boundaries on a consistent basis. And no, you should not have to change or compromise what your core values. You can change and compromise to suit the relationship, absolutely, but you should not have to change your values for what you deem a relationship to be simply because you are comfortable.
And I'll take it even a step further, and I will say...
Because comfortability, by the way, leads to contempt. Go ahead. I just want to get that out.
But the other aspect of that is it's not worth losing yourself.
Right.
I think very often, and I've seen it, I've played a part in this story as well. You become a different version of yourself based on who you're around.
I'd argue a worse version of yourself as well.
Unfortunately. But you have to recognize, is this who I want to be? And if the answer to that is no, because we influence each other, whether we like it or not. Like, when you're around certain people, you pick up habits, you pick up speaking patterns, you just pick up things. That is human nature. That's how we're socialized.
It's true. And ladies, if y'all syncing up with each other period-wise, of course you're influenced by one another.
Yeah! You know, I'm with this gentleman. We've known each other for XYZ years. I mean, he wasn't always terrible. He has his, his highlights, his great points. But the truth is, the woman that I want to be and the woman that I see myself becoming, he does not support that.
Talk to him.
He, for all intents and purposes...
Talk to him.
The person that I needed at 21, 22 is not the person I'm going to need after my prefrontal cortex was fully developed.
Talk to him.
That is 25.
Talk
right?
to him. What else? Keep going.
But you're right. It is hard to start all over. It is.
But it's worth it.
But it is.
It's worth it.
It's significantly better. It's like, have you ever written a paper and then it got deleted and now you're bummed?
But the next paper was even better? Yeah. Yeah. It's like, damn, like the original paper would have gotten me a C. But this paper I wrote in 45 minutes got me an A.
Like, because you're
blows my mind every time.
Right? You're motivated, you're consistent, you're intentional. I think that where cheating is a coward's play card, to me. Cheating is a cop-out. It's childish. Because you should have been a man. Ooh. Or you should have been a woman about the decisions that you were making. If you're going to do some dirt in the dark, then don't be scouring and scurrying when the lights turn on. You want to stand on business? Stand on business in your personal relationships. Stand on business in your professional relationships. Let's talk about cheating in a way and how we can see that manifested at work, right? So you're pitching for a project or you're pitching for a promotion. Now is not the time to come and call your coworkers fumble from like 2 quarters ago. We all know that they fumbled. We all know that they made a mistake. We didn't ask you. Like, why are you being devious? Why are you trying to frame a narrative that is harmful to someone else?
This is no longer serving me. This is no longer serving me. I'm not growing. I'm not nurtured. I'm not happy. I am contempt. If you find yourself more contempt or more sad or more angry than you are happy, then you probably have a problem. And I will end on this. It is better, and I'll die on this hill. It is better to have loved and lost than to have never have loved at all. I'll die on that hill. I'm so serious. I'd love 1,000 times, 1,001 times over for the chance of meeting that one than be stuck in something that doesn't serve or make me happy.
And the other aspect of that is we're talking happiness, right? I think that we need to do a mental framework adjustment. Happiness, as my daddy likes to say, is free. And someone else should not necessarily be the cause of your own happiness. They can contribute to your happiness, but it is your responsibility to cultivate joy for yourself.
Establish your boundaries.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but take responsibility for your actions and lack thereof, because your actions and your reactions are your responsibility.
And define what cheating is to you. If cheating is to you, hey man, you cook for a group of men, I ain't appreciate that. Yeah, that's cheating to me. Now I'm so define that. Have those difficult conversations. It's a must. It is profound to do it. And it makes you a better person if you can pull it off successfully.
And then also, ultimately, look at, once you've had those boundaries established, once you've had those conversations, determining whether or not you are really willing to stay in that relationship, in that work environment, even in that friendship, right? So we talked a lot about the romantic side of the house. We talked about the professional side of the house, but really quickly, I'm going to talk about the friendship side of the house. I keep hearing this narrative of low maintenance friendships. I am the type of person, when I care for my people, I want to show up, similar to do, show up 10 toes down, 125%. If you are only giving things and making it one-sided, then you're failing. If you're demonstrating that you care for someone and the other person is not demonstrating that level of care and investment for you, then there's some very serious questions to be had, and there's some honest conversations that you should probably engage in. I had a girlfriend reach out to me, shout out to you, you know who you are, and she was like, yo, Des, I love you plenty, and I need us to be more consistent with our relationship. I would appreciate if we set up a date at least once a month. And we started that in August of last year, and we've been very consistent about it, right? Checking in with your people and making sure that you're showing up for them and that they're also showing up for you. Because part of being sustainable and maintaining these relationships and not feeling slighted or cheated is communicating your boundaries.
And just remember, show up, show out, and establish your boundaries. And do not, under any circumstances, break the 2 cardinal rules. And that is touching the stove.
Thank you all so much for listening. We hope that you continue to chime in. Like we said, we love the engagement. We love the commentary. We love the questions. So we're on all social medias. If you have a suggestion of an episode you want us to dive into, definitely
hit us on all socials.
Send it out.
YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We're on everything. Hit us up. We'll unpack it. That's what we do. That's what we like to do on this show. And hey, we appreciate you. You're on a journey with us. We will have those difficult conversations with you.
And that is touching the stove.